In an era defined by the rapid acceleration of digital media and the constant evolution of global entertainment platforms, the nature of true star power has undergone a profound transformation. There was a time when Hollywood longevity was measured exclusively by traditional box office receipts, Billboard charts, and the meticulously orchestrated mystique of a traditional studio system. Today, however, cultural dominance is quantified in seconds of viewer attention, viral algorithms, and the undeniable ability to seize control of the collective consciousness with a single unvarnished moment on a glowing screen. This transition from traditional cinematic spectacles to immediate, on-demand streaming consumption has created an environment where the boundaries between reality and fiction are increasingly blurred, and where audiences demand an unprecedented level of intimacy from the icons they choose to follow. In this hyper-connected landscape, very few individuals possess the rare generational magnetism required to transcend the fleeting nature of internet trends and maintain a permanent hold on the global zeitgeist. It requires a unique blend of tireless work ethic, unyielding charisma, and an innate understanding of what the public truly desires to see. When a global phenomenon manages to capture this perfect storm of public fascination, the resulting cultural wave sweeps across social media platforms, entertainment news outlets, and streaming charts alike, creating a singular moment of unified public attention that reminds us of the enduring power of classic. Larger-than-life celebrity allure, at the absolute epicenter of this modern entertainment matrix, stands a figure who has spent more than 3 decades defying expectations, breaking barriers, and systematically rewriting the playbook of multi-hyphenate stardom. From her early beginnings as a determined dancer navigating a highly competitive industry to her explosive breakthrough as a critically acclaimed dramatic actress and global pop sensation, this individual has continuously reinvented her artistic persona while remaining fiercely authentic to her roots. Her career trajectory is a masterclass in cultural survival, marked by an uncanny ability to navigate the shifting tides of public taste, highly publicized personal narratives, and an industry that frequently attempts to place expiration dates on female performers. Crucially, her legacy is deeply intertwined with the golden era of the cinematic romantic comedy, a genre she helped define during the late 90s and early 2000s with an array of charming, high-stakes narratives that captured the hearts of millions around the globe. Now, as she approaches a significant milestone in her personal journey, preparing to celebrate her 57th year, her physical vitality, unyielding confidence, and magnetic screen presence continue to challenge conventional notions of aging in the public eye, proving that true star quality does not fade but rather intensifies with time. As we prepare to delve much deeper into the extraordinary circumstances surrounding her latest creative endeavor and the unprecedented digital storm it has unleashed across the globe, consider taking a brief moment to ensure you are fully connected with our channel by subscribing, ensuring that you never miss our comprehensive, deep dive investigations into the fascinating inner workings of the entertainment industry and the cultural forces that shape our world. To understand the magnitude of the current cultural moment, one must also examine the profound structural evolution of the romantic comedy genre itself, which has transitioned from a glamorous, theater-bound cinematic staple into the crown jewel of the digital streaming ecosystem. In decades past, audiences would gather in crowded theaters to experience the slow-burn chemistry, witty banter, and predictable yet deeply comforting resolutions of traditional Hollywood romances. However, the advent of massive digital streaming services has fundamentally altered how these stories are produced, distributed, and consumed by the global public. Streaming platforms have effectively democratized entertainment, allowing millions of viewers to instantly access thousands of titles from the comfort of their homes, thereby creating a hyper-competitive landscape where content creators must work twice as hard to cut through the digital noise. In this new frontier of filmmaking, the traditional boundaries of the genre are being pushed to their absolute limits, often trading the innocent sweetness of yesteryear for a more provocative, raw, and mature approach that seeks to shock and captivate modern audiences who have grown accustomed to fast-paced internet culture. This shift has created a fascinating dichotomy within the industry, where standard narrative formulas are deliberately infused with highly charged, scandalous, and viral-ready moments specifically designed to spark intense online debates, split critical opinion down the middle, and ultimately drive millions of clicks to a single platform. This brings us directly to the precipice of a massive, unfolding media phenomenon that has spent the past week completely dominating the global streaming charts and generating an unprecedented wave of public fascination. What began as a highly anticipated collaboration between an established queen of Hollywood romance and a uniquely talented, Emmy-winning contemporary British creator has rapidly spiraled into one of the most talked-about cultural events of the season, fueled by a singular, electrifying sequence that has captured the imagination of the internet. The project in question represents a fascinating collision of creative worlds, blending traditional high-concept romantic tropes with a distinctly modern, unfiltered sensibility that has left traditional film critics deeply divided, yet has driven mainstream audiences into a state of absolute frenzy. At the heart of this global conversation is an incredibly specific, provocative beachside sequence that has already amassed tens of millions of views across official streaming channels within a matter of days, quickly establishing itself as a cultural touchstone and a testament to the power of uninhibited screen chemistry. As viewers around the world continue to dissect every frame of this viral moment, discussing everything from the star's flawless physical appearance to the palpable tension between the lead performers, a larger story begins to emerge about the delicate balance between critical acclaim, audience desire, and the undeniable magic of a Hollywood icon who refuses to be ignored. The mystery surrounding this sudden cultural phenomenon resolves completely when we look at the undisputed #1 film currently dominating the global Netflix charts, a highly provocative and racy romantic comedy aptly titled Office Romance. This high-profile streaming release brings together two vastly different spheres of the modern entertainment world, pairing the legendary multi-hyphenate icon Jennifer Lopez with the brilliantly sharp, Emmy-winning British actor, writer, and comedian Brett Goldstein. In this narrative, Lopez steps into the formidable shoes of Jackie Cruz, a fiercely independent, intensely overworked, and notoriously demanding executive who serves as the chief executive officer of Cruz Airlines. Jackie is not just any corporate leader. She is carrying the immense, crushing weight of a multi-generational family legacy, running a massive aviation empire originally founded by her commanding father. This patriarch is brought to life on screen by the iconic veteran actor Edward James Olmos, a casting choice that provides a deeply nostalgic reunion for audiences, as Olmos famously portrayed Lopez's on-screen father decades ago in the classic, critically acclaimed biographical masterpiece Selena. The plot of Office Romance thickens dramatically when Cruz Airlines faces severe operational and legal turbulence, prompting the company's nervous board of directors to bring in a brilliant, highly analytical external legal counsel named Daniel Blanchflower, portrayed with a distinct deadpan charm by Brett Goldstein. Hired specifically to prepare the high-strung, intimidating Jackie for an impending, high-stakes legal deposition that could completely determine the future of her family empire. Daniel finds himself forced into close quarters with a powerful woman who is thoroughly accustomed to absolute obedience from everyone in her orbit. As these two fiercely intelligent characters continuously lock horns over legal strategies, corporate survival, and personal boundaries, the professional walls between the intense airline executive and her sharp-witted attorney begin to dissolve entirely, transforming a routine corporate preparation into a passionate, secret, and highly unauthorized love affair that they must desperately attempt to hide from their incredibly nosy coworkers and the rest of the company. While the classic premise of corporate tension and hidden desires sets a compelling stage for the narrative, it is a singular, intensely suggestive, and uninhibited beachside sequence that has truly catapulted the film into the stratosphere of viral internet phenomena over the past several days. In this specific, widely discussed scene, the movie abruptly strips away the formal corporate suits, high-rise boardrooms, and polished office settings to find Jackie and Daniel on an isolated, sun-drenched beach, a location where the underlying romantic tension between the two leads finally reaches an absolute boiling point. Jennifer Lopez delivers a sequence that leaves absolutely little to the imagination of the viewer, stepping onto the sand in an incredibly skimpy, daring bikini that proudly showcases her notoriously flawless and athletic physical form. As her character flirts playfully, confidently, and unapologetically with a visibly smitten, mesmerized, and utterly astonished Daniel, she experiences a highly realistic, tantalizing moment of near wardrobe malfunction. The camera captures her visibly struggling and nervously fiddling with the delicate, fragile strings of her bikini bottoms as they threaten to completely come undone on camera during their intense banter. The sequence takes an even more uninhibited, deeply comedic and raw turn when Jackie, after sitting directly in the shifting coastal sand, stands up and vigorously rubs her world-famous backside in an unscripted attempt to clear away the irritating debris. With a burst of genuine laughter, she looks at Daniel and exclaims that she has an immense amount of sand in her butt, delivering a playful, instantly iconic line suggesting that if he were to turn her over right now, he could literally tell time using her body like a sundial or an hourglass. This unvarnished, highly provocative blend of physical comedy and intense sensuality has resonated with global audiences on a staggering scale, with the official clip rapidly amassing nearly 13 million views on Netflix's official social media accounts within a single week, officially securing its place as the single most watched, shared, and debated promotional snippet across the entire streaming landscape. The explosive, viral nature of this beach sequence has reignited a massive global conversation regarding Jennifer Lopez's seemingly ageless beauty and her unparalleled ability to command public attention as she approaches a major personal milestone. At 56 years old, with her 57th birthday arriving next month, Lopez showcases a level of physical fitness, radiant energy, and unyielding screen presence that has left modern audiences completely awestruck and deeply inspired. The digital landscape has been absolutely flooded with glowing commentary from millions of fans who marvel at her lifelong dedication to wellness, with many commentators pointing out the incredible reality that she is a mother who has given birth to twins in real life, and yet continues to maintain a physical appearance that rivals performers half her age. This overwhelming wave of fan adulation, with online commentators gushing that she looks absolutely spectacular and continues to single-handedly redefine the conventional boundaries of aging in Hollywood, has also poured fuel onto an entirely separate fire of intense romantic speculation regarding her relationship with her co-star. In the weeks leading up to the film's global streaming premiere, fans and entertainment journalists alike have noticed an array of surprisingly cozy, highly affectionate, and deeply familiar public displays between Lopez and Brett Goldstein during high-profile promotional events, press junkets, and private celebratory gatherings. This undeniable, palpable real-life comfort and mutual admiration have sparked a wildfire of romance rumors across social media platforms, leaving global audiences to wonder whether the white-hot screen chemistry displayed between the overworked airline CEO and her handsome legal counsel has managed to transcend the fictional boundaries of the script and bleed into a genuine, real-world relationship between the two Hollywood powerhouses, further intensifying the public's fascination with every frame of the film. However, beneath the surface of this massive viral triumph and the mounting rumors of real-life romance, a significant storm of critical controversy and industry skepticism was already brewing long before the public ever pressed play on the movie. The architectural foundation of office romance was unique from its inception, as Brett Goldstein did not merely star as the romantic lead, but also co-wrote the entire screenplay and served as a hands-on producer alongside Lopez herself, ensuring that both stars possessed immense creative control over the tone, pacing, and comedic direction of the project. Yet, experienced industry observers and media experts noticed a glaring, highly ominous red flag in the final days leading up to the film's launch, as Netflix placed a strict ironclad review embargo on the title. This embargo completely forbade film critics and entertainment journalists from publishing their professional evaluations until just a few short hours before the movie officially went live on the streaming platform. In the complex, highly strategic landscape of Hollywood public relations, such extreme timing is universally recognized as a tactical defensive maneuver utilized by major studios when they are fully anticipating a brutal, unsparing wave of critical pans and negative reviews, choosing to lock down opinions until it is far too late to dissuade the mainstream audience from tuning in on release night. By bypassing traditional movie theaters entirely and opting for an exclusive, direct-to-streaming digital release, the platform successfully insulated the project from traditional box office metrics, guaranteeing an immediate, massive surge in viewership driven by curiosity and viral social media marketing, even as the entertainment industry braced itself for an inevitable catastrophic clash between the roaring approval of the viewing public and the approaching, unforgiving judgments of the world's most prominent film critics, who were about to dissect the movie's unconventional tone. When the highly anticipated promotional review embargo finally lifted just a few short hours before the official global digital launch, the impending critical storm broke over the entertainment ecosystem with absolute fury, revealing a profound, stark, and seemingly irreconcilable divide between the immediate, roaring adoration of the general viewing public and the sharp, uncompromising, and deeply analytical evaluations of professional film scholars. Leading the charge in this initial wave of intense critical condemnation was the highly respected and seasoned industry veteran Pete Hammond, writing a comprehensive analysis for the prominent Hollywood entertainment publication Deadline. Hammond pulled absolutely no punches in his scathing review, delivering a searing, direct indictment of the project's creative direction by boldly and controversially declaring that Jennifer Lopez currently reigns supreme as the undisputed queen of what he explicitly categorized as the failing contemporary romantic comedy genre. In his deeply detailed and unforgiving analysis, Hammond took severe issue with the movie's fundamental tonal shift, aggressively criticizing the strategic decision made by the creative team to saturate the overarching narrative with an abundance of outrageous, highly explicit, and R-rated raunchy humor rather than infusing the story with the kind of genuine, heartfelt, and wholesome sweetness and deep emotional vulnerability that had historically and successfully defined Lopez's classic, beloved romantic cinematic vehicles from the late 90s and early 2000s. Furthermore, Hammond expressed deep, unwavering skepticism regarding the central professional partnership at the heart of the film, flatly and publicly accusing Jennifer Lopez and Brett Goldstein of entirely lacking the essential, natural, and indefinable romantic screen chemistry required to successfully pull off a truly captivating, believable, and emotionally resonant love story for modern audiences. He deeply lamented that the overarching narrative structure of the production felt utterly rote, derivative, and thoroughly uninspired from start to finish, ultimately describing the entire plot as nothing more than a shallow, unoriginal collection of tired romantic comedy tropes that global audiences have already witnessed countless times throughout cinematic history, thereby offering absolutely nothing genuinely fresh, provocative, or innovative to the modern digital streaming catalog. This pervasive sentiment of deep narrative disappointment and creative exhaustion was echoed with equal fervor and articulate precision by the prominent film critic Angie Hahn, who utilized her highly influential platform at The Hollywood Reporter to voice a profound dismay over what she identified as the movie's bizarre, almost fanatical worship of relentless corporate labor and professional exhaustion. Hahn noted with a touch of sharp, witty irony that she personally does not dream of constant labor or corporate subservience, yet the fictional characters inhabiting the hyper-capitalist world of office romance absolutely and inexplicably do, fiercely pursuing their high-stakes corporate airline duties to a frantic, all-consuming, and unhealthy extent that ultimately gives what should have been a light, fluffy, and escapist Jennifer Lopez vehicle a distinctly dispiriting, heavy, and exhausting atmospheric feel for the average viewer. According to Hahn's insightful and unsparing critique, the film struggles mightily from its opening scenes and ultimately fails to successfully humanize the central character of Jackie Cruz, resulting in an incredibly incoherent narrative that desperately and clumsily tries to have things both ways at all times. The screenplay actively portrays the high-flying airline executive as a ruthless, icy, and terrifying corporate monarch heavily reminiscent of a Miranda Priestley-level caricature who will unceremoniously humiliate or cut down a subordinate employee for simply breathing too loudly in her presence, while simultaneously expecting the viewing audience to warmly embrace her as a completely relatable, down-to-earth, and deeply misunderstood everyday gal who is just looking for true love and a genuine connection. Hahn also joined the growing, thunderous chorus of critics who found the romantic spark between the two lead actors to be entirely non-existent on screen, bluntly and humorously observing that their on-screen interaction never managed to evolve past the sterile, uninspiring status of two friendly and professional co-workers who happen to collaborate reasonably well on a mundane group project or a corporate presentation rather than conveying a grand, sweeping, and passionate office love affair that would captivate the imagination of viewers. The critical slaughter of the high-profile streaming release intensified further with a blistering, completely unsparing review penned by Johnny Oleksinski of the New York Post, who assigned the star-studded romantic comedy a meager and highly disappointing rating of just 1.5 stars out of a possible 4. Oleksinski launched an aggressive, detailed assault on the entire production for its overwhelming abundance of outdated cliches and derivative narrative beats, arguing with immense frustration that the entire enterprise felt as though it was desperately and lazily attempting to artificially revive the long-expired, formulaic templates of the early 2000s romantic comedy era without introducing any of the modern nuance, sharp wit, or progressive self-awareness required for contemporary storytelling in the modern age. While openly and passionately professing his own enduring, deep-seated personal affection for the romantic comedy genre as a whole, Oleksinsky adamantly maintained that the ultimate key to saving, preserving, and revitalizing this historically beloved cinematic medium does not lie in lazily and blindly replicating 25-year-old cinematic blueprints that have historically not aged particularly well in the cultural rearview mirror. He strongly and directly criticized the ongoing Hollywood practice of thrusting the exact same aging superstars into identical, formulaic, and highly predictable narratives that they outgrew decades ago, suggesting that the industry's heavy reliance on nostalgic star power alone, completely detached from the vital support of a truly innovative, forward-thinking, and emotionally resonant screenplay, represents a fundamentally flawed and lazy approach to modern digital content creation that ultimately insults the intelligence and evolving tastes of the contemporary global viewer. Despite this overwhelming, highly coordinated wave of intense negative reviews from the vast majority of mainstream media institutions and established film organizations, Office Romance still managed to miraculously find a handful of passionate, highly articulate, and defensive allies within the fiercely competitive critical landscape, most notably the distinguished cultural critic Stephanie Zacharek, writing a comprehensive column for Time magazine, dissenting entirely and courageously from the harsh, unforgiving consensus of several of her prominent colleagues. Zacharek offered a remarkably refreshing and positive perspective that warmly praised Brett Goldstein for possessing an abundance of unique, understated screen charisma, intellectual weight, and grounded masculinity, which she confidently argued was more than sufficient to successfully stand up to, balance out, and complement Jennifer Lopez's signature, high beam, and utterly dazzling cinematic beauty. This sentiment of cautious, highly nuanced appreciation was further expanded upon by the respected international film critic Guy Lodge in his analytical review published for Variety, who began his critique by openly acknowledging a recurring systemic flaw in Lopez's recent romantic comedy endeavors over the past several years, noting that her most recent string of cinematic outings had all unfortunately suffered from a distinctly tinny cheap and overtly televisual aesthetic that selfishly centered Lopez as a static pop icon but failed to treat her character with any palpable artistic care, emotional depth, or genuine directorial affection. However, Lodge was quick to point out that Office Romance represented a massive, undeniably positive, and visually stunning departure from this negative aesthetic trend, lavishing immense praise on the brilliant technical efforts of the film's highly accomplished cinematographer, the legendary and regular Wes Anderson collaborator Robert Yeoman, alongside the immensely talented and veteran production designer Christy Zia. Lodge credited these two visionary behind-the-scenes creatives with successfully crafting a visual landscape that felt both comfortingly lacquered, visually opulent, and yet firmly reality-adjacent. An impressive artistic achievement that provided a beautifully polished, high-end cinematic canvas that effectively allowed Lopez to truly stand out, radiating with the classic, larger-than-life old Hollywood glamour and magnetic star power that has successfully defined her iconic career for decades. Ultimately, this fascinating, highly public, and explosive collision between the unforgiving, analytical verdicts of institutional film critics and the roaring, unyielding, and numbers-driven approval of the global digital streaming audience serves as a powerful, defining case study regarding the true nature of modern celebrity power and the rapidly shifting mechanics of the contemporary entertainment industry. The staggering reality that a film like Office Romance can be thoroughly savaged, mocked, and dismissed by major historical publications yet effortlessly instantly command the absolute #1 position on the world's largest streaming service proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the traditional gatekeepers of high culture and cinema have lost much of their historical power to dictate public taste or control consumer behavior. For Jennifer Lopez and Brett Goldstein, this massive project represents a triumphant, highly lucrative validation of their unique creative instincts and their profound, unparalleled understanding of digital age audience engagement and viral marketing mechanics, demonstrating to the entire industry that a single, meticulously crafted, uninhibited, and highly provocative viral moment can completely overshadow and neutralize any amount of critical disdain or professional disapproval. Their respective artistic journeys, marked throughout the decades by a fierce, fearless willingness to take massive creative risks, aggressively push societal boundaries, and expose themselves to intense public scrutiny, have culminated in a production that serves as a fascinating, essential mirror to our contemporary cultural desires, a landscape where the line between traditional cinematic storytelling and viral internet content has vanished entirely. As the millions of digital views continue to skyrocket daily and the passionate online debates show absolutely no signs of